Hey everyone, it's Justin here, Voices for Voices. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the show. As always, we're grateful to have you with us, no matter where you're at in the world. We are grateful for you being with us. We've had one heck of a year, the year of 2025. We have blown past goals in a positive way, as this is an episode that is over the number 400 when we were only going to be over 300. Uh, we have just been blessed with so much positive energy and momentum from all over the world. You hear me talk about how many countries, how many cities, how many provinces, you get all that. And I can't stress it enough that it's because of you that we have a show, that we have a podcast, that we've been able to take a number of 300 and make it over 400. It it's because of you that helps me wake up in the morning to share and to help and uh, everything. Every bit of my being is with Voices for Voices, which I think it's pretty clear now. If it hasn't been, it is. Uh, so let's get going. Okay. So when I was growing up, I had braces. So, the silver braces with the brackets and got to pick my colors, the favorite teams, favorite colors, and all that. I had them twice, uh, two different times when I was growing up. About, well, it's been over a year. Over, yeah, it's at least over a year, if not a year and a half. I was it's been in my mind, right? So my bottom teeth here, okay. So those got really crooked, really crooked. I don't know how I just they got really crooked. And this is again after having braces two times growing up. And what I've been told, I don't know if this is what everybody's been told, is technology, the research, back in the 90s, 80s, 90s, uh, was that you didn't need a retainer uh, to keep your teeth where they ended up with the braces. And so years and years and years and decades go by in my life, and it's literally watching like a slow motion movie of my teeth just going from as close to perfect. Um, nothing's perfect, so it's close to perfect to being anything but but that. And money's a big part of a decision like this. So I haven't had plastic surgery. I haven't done that. I don't get Botox. I don't um but for my mental health, my um the crooked teeth just ended up being another thing, just one more thing to, kind of knock myself down in my mind. saying, "Oh, Justin, you got crooked teeth, and oh, you have acne, and you're." And so all these thoughts are again marinating in my head. Again, this is for the most part without the technology that we have today, like the smartphones and the TVs and all that. Uh, so I just pray that our children are able to course correct and the schools um, and organizations and companies get off the accelerator of profit, 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 bonus, 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 shares of stock, money, 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 and they actually think about people, people, people. Uh, so yeah, it was about, a year and a half or so ago in the current time here. So I'm over 40 years old, and I had heard and seen about the different options for braces, and I knew it was going to be some time, that it wasn't going to happen overnight, and I finally pulled the trigger, not on any weapon. Let me just say that I went in and saw an orthodontist that was recommended by my dentist, and then I got started um, on kind of that. I guess the third time with braces. And so that's what I did. So that was a thing for my confidence, for my mental health, that it was definitely a work in progress, but I could at least see this work in progress, uh, whether it's day by day or week by week, because it seemed like, every week you'd get a different set of retainers, and then be computer. So a computer program that would take from like what the teeth look like to like where they were gonna end up. And every week there were a set of, top and bottom for me, top and bottom retainers that I would wear for a week, for everything except, eating, and pretty much eating, and drinking. Try not to drink soda, but if I'm gonna drink soda, take them out and that. So pretty much wear them all day long for the most part. Try to. And I just finished up here in 2025 about, I don't know, maybe a month ago. I'm not sure I have the exact date, but it doesn't matter. What matters is it was part of my mental health that was holding me down. I talk about having, 138 different things, and in 2017, and it was just like dominoes that once one started falling, then they all fell kind of at the same time. And I didn't even have, crooked teeth, I don't think, on that list, but it affected so many things in my life, like smiling and uh, adding, confidence, and my mental health was already teetering, with that mental illness, no matter what, regardless of the teeth or not. I mean, I'm lucky that I mean, yeah, I have cavities and they're filled and all that, but it, for the most part, like I'm lucky with original teeth. And so I have that to be grateful and thankful for. And so in 2025, I was able to close out the um, the braces chapter. And so now with the research that's out there, I have an upper and lower retainer that I wear at like 10 to 12 hours a night. Um, and and so yeah, that's what is going to keep my teeth where they're at until I guess I eat too much sugar, drink too much sugary drinks, and they fall out. I don't know. Uh, but I can tell you that that part of my mental health and that part of the depression that I've been kind of suffering from, it's not there anymore. And I know it's not an option for everybody. I am grateful to have, I'm grateful to have had the option that I did to be able to get kind of that, third time's a charm. And so now when I smile, if I'm in pictures, more than likely I'm smiling or at least trying to smile. And I'm not trying to, kind of cover up or make sure to only like the top, the my top teeth are showing because those were the in the best shape from a I don't know, I don't even know what the word is, but I guess shape from whereas the bottom and the in the middle were just they were very crooked and I and there was nobody really to blame. I can't blame anybody. I had two cracks at braces when I was growing up. There's a lot of people that don't even have a chance to do it one time. And because it costs money, yeah, then there's insurance. And if there isn't insurance, then unless, money's just available, you can't do it, or it makes it even tougher to do it. So that's one thing I'm grateful for that, and you've probably, if you're watching, if you've been a viewer or of our show over the course of time, that might be one thing that you may notice uh, over the course of time that whether I'm laughing or smiling, and it might not be for a whole extended period of time, uh, but that wouldn't happen on 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, years ago. Um, I would still, if I had the opportunity. Uh, I mean, if I look back when I hit rock bottom, if I was, the pieces were just starting to come together with my team, on the mental side, uh, that you saw even a more of a transgression over time of just facial expressions. Um, and so that's something in 2025 that, uh, okay, yeah, it's a cosmetic thing. And I'm not trying to prove anything. All I'm trying to say is that affected my mental health, having crooked teeth. And again, a lot of the, excuse me, a lot of it, or a decent amount of it, probably had to do with the many years of, alcohol consumption, binge drinking, just being, hungover and just not taking care of my teeth. And maybe I could have took care of this a little earlier and sooner, but it doesn't matter. I can look back, and I think we all can look back, a lot of us, not every single one of us, But some of us can look back and say, "Whoa, yeah, if I would have did this, 10 years ago or 20 years ago to make a big difference." And I'm like that. Like, oh, if I would have did this, if I wouldn't have done that, uh, then then this thing wouldn't happen, and then that thing wouldn't have got worse. And so I wanna say from a just as a complexion, a cosmetic thing that uh, I had braces and they were over a year and a half, closer to 2 years, I think. I think originally it was going to be a year and a half, but I think we got closer to 2 years because I think I got a little bit lazy kind of towards the end. They say they get senioritis when you're going through school, when you're getting close to graduating or anything where you're getting close to the end of the school year where it's like, all right, I'm gonna be done with this year in a week or 4 days or 2 days. Uh, I think that probably played a little bit of a part and stuff, pushed me back a few weeks. But I couldn't be more happy with, how things have turned out. And so that was a decision that I made, and I again grateful to have had the opportunity to do it. It I could have done it so much earlier. I I just had so many areas of my mental health and with the mental illnesses and everything that's going on that I had to take care of, kind of like the brain and get that at least on, get that course corrected as much as possible. Uh, so I could at least, I mean, there were years that I didn't go to the dentist, and I had dental insurance for a majority of those. Some I didn't, some I did, but that it was just like I'm just gonna go and I'm probably gonna have another cavity and then it's gonna cost more money and then it's, even if I wasn't being shamed, uh, I would internalize that of like they're probably like, yep, every time Justin comes in, he's got another cavity or two, and yep, we're gonna, hit the lottery. We're gonna, be able to get more money from his insurance and I don't know. I don't know that any of those conversations ever took place with dentists that I've had in the past. But I will say this, that once I got my head on as straight as it's gonna probably get, uh, probably whew, 2017, 2018. It's been a few years. But before like the braces, I had over 20 fillings. So I guess, right, you got the front of the tooth and then you have the back of the tooth. And so you could on one tooth you could have two filling or two cavities. Uh, and so I had so many. I think it ended up being it was at least three different visits of like a couple hours every visit to get the cavities filled and to just get there. And so I would every time I would go in, in my mind I was being shamed. It wasn't that anybody said anything, but in my mind, that was just where my mind went to. A little bit less than years and years and years ago, but that's where my mind went. I was like, oh, here comes, we're gonna fill five cavities today or six, and then he's gonna come back in a month and another five or six. And I mean, and and I'm not trying to say that my teeth are so beautiful and so much better than anybody. It's not that. It's in my mind that I now have a a smile or just teeth that I can kind of open my mouth like when I'm talking, when you watch TV or watch a show and it's like, man, they've really got perfect or what looks to be perfect teeth and look how, white they are um and it's like how does a person get teeth that straight? Forget the whitening part of it, but uh and so that's something that I'm never gonna take for granted. Uh, and so the technology and the research changed. And so yeah, I have an upper and a lower retainer that I wear now at night, and that'll help keep the teeth uh, in the spots they're supposed to be in. And so that's something that I am very, very grateful to have been able to go through that process because it was, you can say, oh, well, at least you didn't have the silver braces. Yeah, but I still had to wear these like a very high percentage of the day, and I wasn't going to be able to move on to the next set. Like they would come in maybe sets of like 10 or 12. And so every visit, they might give me like eight or seven or, a number like that, maybe like half or somewhere around there. And and so there was still that dedication of I could have quit. I could have just been like, this is just too much of a hassle. But I was starting to see progress so very soon in the process. I was seeing progress that I was just, I mean, almost like brought to tears because it was like with my acne that I'd had acne and pimples and whiteheads and black. I'd had them for so long that it, I mean, I felt like a human, but I felt that I was just like a tarnished person that like I'm not even talking about like relationships with girls. I'm talking about just like having a relationship with people that I was playing a sport with that I I just couldn't fit in. And I know a lot of us go through that. Um, and so the teeth really uh, just just multiply that out by some number, and that's how I felt and had been feeling for years and years and years. And again, and it was the research of the orthodontist, has nothing to do with the family. Because they did two rounds of braces for me, two. I could have quit after one. They did two. And so here at the end of 2025, I know I've spent what 25, 26 minutes talking about this, but it is such a big part of the mental health, the how we see ourselves in the mirror, whether, and it's not, I don't know, it's not even the attractiveness, like, oh wow, like it like, oh look, I have nice teeth, big deal. We're, um we're not going to be able to take the teeth with us. Like, we're not going to be able to take the money with us. We're not going to be able to take the house or the TV or, um, we're not going to be able to take those things with us when we leave Earth, like in our earthly body. Uh, so it's, take it for what it's worth. Uh, and it was worth a lot for me. It was worth the money because of what I was envisioning, and we were just getting kind of started with this whole Voices for Voices TV show and podcast that I thought that that was another reason why uh, I could I could sell my own self. Like, all right, Justin, we can do it because of this and that and the other thing, and so that's kind of where was at, and here we are, and everybody had to do their part. The orthodontist had to do their checks and their pictures and all the X-rays and and give me they come in these little bags with like a number. So if it's, let's say you have 12 weeks, so it'd say like 1 out of 12, then the next week would be 2 out of 12, and then three. And so it's a lot of that, just checking and making sure that all that is lining up. And so there were a lot of different roles to play by everybody in the process. And I get it. That's what their job is. That's what they get paid to do. But I am just so grateful to have had this opportunity to get the braces again. And I remember going in the first day for kind of like the initial consultation to look at, you know, are you gonna do it or aren't you? Or I mean, I was ready. I had the checkbook ready. I mean, I was ready to, like, I was like, sign me out. Like, yes, yes, this is what I want. This is what I want. And I remember the hygienist that I spoke with, and everybody was so kind. And I mean, yeah, they're trying to get another client, and they see dollar signs, and I get all that. Um, and I remember saying to her that uh, I never thought that I would be, where I'm at and being so happy to like get started. And she told me, she's like, you're not the only one. There's a lot of people, your age, younger, older, that come in, and it's the same, little bit of the same story. Some of them maybe never had braces before, uh, but she said there's so many people would come in because they were going to be able to see that progress over time. And I think that's one of the areas with, whether it's mental health or physical health or anything, that if we don't see progress, it's hard. I'll say it's hard to continue. It's like you start looking for an alternative way to do something. Uh, but it was something that wasn't like that. It was something where I could see over time how, and I could feel, the first tray or two, like first week or two. I mean, it hurt. Like, I mean, I don't say it hurt. It was just like very uncomfortable soreness in my mouth. That's because my teeth were being introduced to something new. But once we got going, I was able to see. shifting and then a little bit more shifting and a little bit more. And it even was this last round of trays that I had, like the last 8 weeks, I think. It was what I had. I either had 6 or 8 weeks on this last go round. And it was almost all the way up until like maybe that last 2 weeks that I was still feeling and seeing my teeth adjust, even so slightly, right? Because we're so used to judging ourselves, even though we try not to, and I try not to. And I talk on the show about trying not to, but we do sometimes. We do a lot. I do a lot. I try not to, but I do. And I think it's that type of judging that I was just showed how much judging of myself I had been doing that over 2 years that I still noticed just the slightest movement into the spaces and uh, into the shape of the smile that I have now with my teeth. And it's the same thing with the retainers at night that I if I want to keep like this, I need to keep with the retainer. I need to like there's just no other way. I think there might have been like one night where if I was traveling or something where I didn't. Um, but trust me, from somebody's had now 3 go rounds with braces. I'm ready. I've done been ready. I went through the process this third time. The research says you need the retainers, wear them at night to keep everything as close as in place as possible. And so I don't need to be sold anymore. I might need to sell myself, like just like go take those 20 steps to the bathroom and go get those retainers on. Um, like silliness like that. And I totally was not planning to put 35 minutes on this particular episode, but it shows how just how much my teeth meant to my mental health and still means to my mental health. It's not my mental health isn't my mental illnesses aren't healed. I'm gonna I'm guessing I'm gonna have various degrees throughout the rest of my life and you know with the other diagnoses that I have. But it's one less thing. So you hear me talk about one person. If we can help one person step off that ledge or even think help that one person that's even thinking about getting up on a ledge and thinking about ending things for themselves. I know a life and teeth, they don't correlate. The big difference is one is teeth, like bones, and the other is life. But for me, I I with what's happened with my teeth, which the transformation that's happened, I, I feel like I help myself. So when I said like I when I you hear me say, Well, I know we've helped at least one person. I've helped myself, and my teeth is just one of those areas. And to put 35, 40 minutes on a show about it should tell you all you need to know. I'm not trying to put that on the same level as, somebody that's on the ledge or thinking about it or other other means and ways. Not trying to not trying to equate those as the same. All I'm saying is I was able to help myself, so I know that I and we have voices for voices and mythical creatures around the world, and what we're doing is truly helping people, even if it's just watching the progression of my mouth, whatever that may be. I've been a little fancier, you want to call it, with the hair, a little wire, whatever. I wasn't doing that 5 years ago. I wasn't doing, I don't, I'm, it was just like, all right. One day I just did it and I was like, okay, well, it's something new. Doesn't stop, it's not stopping the gray coming in. But the evolution of my teeth, I just hope that helps anybody, anywhere across the world. If it can help in one little way or a big way. If here's somebody's going through the same thing, I crooked teeth and I felt like it was my fault and it wasn't. It was the research that was out 35, 40 years ago, 35, years ago or so. And so it's easier to say, looking back, hindsight's always 2020 from like a vision, like, oh, well, of course, if I would have that information back then I probably would have still had the retainers, or I may not have had to have gone all these years. But that, again, that's only one aspect of my mental health, my mental illness that really just dug root and spread. But it's one heck of a way to do a small thing. As you can tell, it's not by as long as the shows go on that it's a bigger thing than what I'm letting it on to be. And it's not because I want to be compared and looked at with all these celebrities and that. It's not that. It's for what it's doing to my mind, where I can take the weight off of my shoulders that I've been carrying around about my teeth. Yeah, I got cavities filled. Yeah, I got crowns. I think I even had a root canal. And all those things did not fix the crooked teeth. And I felt, years back when I had that decision, when I was deciding if I was going to do it or not, I was like, okay, well, I'm in my 40s. Well, I'm going to do it. I got to do it. If I'm going to get yeah, if I'm gonna get use out of what I think might be a positive, if I can lift a weight that I can see, I'm gonna get copies of these pictures and I'm gonna show you. Uh, I don't think I gotta look and see when my appointment is. I think it might not be till like maybe March or so, but uh, just to show you, I want copies of them of where they're at, where they were, and then where we're at. And again, it doesn't help with the brushing. I still have to brush and floss, which again, for somebody with depression, that's still not the easiest thing for me to do. Sometimes I go a day or two or three, where it's like, yeah, I'll just do mouthwash today. So I just spent, 40 minutes talking about my teeth, and that's just, the curvature and the shape of uh, crooked, not crooked-ish type of deal. Uh, there's still the brushing and flossing, because if I don't do that, then all this money again is going to be for naught. And I don't want that. Nobody wants that. Wow, 43 minutes. It's it's very it's very near and dear to me. It's something that is so intertwined with everybody's mental health, not just mine. I'm just trying to show how something like my teeth, like I said, just take a weight off of my shoulders. Maybe it'd do the same thing to you, for you. Maybe it's something else. I don't know. But by us continuing with these shows, continuing the organization, continuing with the books and the content and everything we have planned, the fact that we have literally a zero budget model and we blew past our goal by over 100 episodes this year. So if that doesn't prove that if you want something bad enough, and there's some things I'm uh, not gonna be able to talk about for a while, if at all, uh, that have been really some some not good thing, not fun things that I've been dealing with personally. Uh, and so that's what makes this all the more validated in what we're doing, because there's so much that we haven't shared, and uh, for one reason or the other. And so that's why I kind of got a little tear starting in my eye. And, I'm doing this episode on teeth. And I'm not a dentist. I'm not a hygienist. That's not my profession. My profession is just being myself and trying to help people, trying to help over 3 billion people over the course of my lifetime and beyond. I think we're we're doing good. I think within 2 years of reaching over 100 countries and territories in over 1,000 cities, over 400 episodes, Again, this time last year, we were at maybe like 160, maybe. Because I think we were looking at trying to hit like 100 episodes. I think we were like around getting close to 200, but we weren't even at 200. So we were going to experience, quite a bit of growth. But we experienced that growth, and that's for sure. So as always, thank you for being a part of our Voices for Voices podcast and TV show. If you can share, subscribe, give us a big thumbs up, like, uh, text 25 of your friends or family members, your followers. Let them know about the Voices for Voices TV show and podcast. We are, and I don't say this lightly, we are behind uh, only the Joe Rogan Experience and the hottest show on the planet, the Voices for Voices TV show and podcast. It's a name to get used to. It's a name that you want to be sharing with your friends, your loved ones, your colleagues, uh, your players, if you're a coach, your congregation, your parishioners. And we got love for every one of you, whether you're a believer or not. We still pray at the end of every night for not only ourselves and our families, but for you and everybody across the whole world. So we love you. We're thinking about you. We hope you're happy, healthy, prosperous now and going into the year 2026. So this has been Justin Allen Hayes with Voices for Voices, TV show and podcast and TV show. Doesn't matter how you say it. We do both. It's the same thing. Just one file is a video file, and our file is an audio file. And so we'll see you on the next episode. So let's celebrate everybody's voice. Everybody has a voice. Let's celebrate it. And let's be a voice for you or somebody in need that you know. We'll see you next time. And we have nothing but love for everybody.